Good afternoon, class. So as you all know, we have already started with a new chapter. The name of the chapter was Linear Programming Problems. And we were on the solution part. So up till now, we have finished the formulation part. That is, we saw how to solve word problems in LPP format, how to bring it, how to formulate it. Then after that, we already started with the solution part involving simple sums. That is with table as well as without table also, class. Now today, we'll be seeing sums which are related to feasible region but including special cases. Remember class, I've already told you all previously also that we have finished simple sums with table, without table. Now, then I told you all how a bounded feasible region looks like and how an unbounded feasible region looks like. Now, this is the third part wherein we'll be seeing some special cases involving the sums. There's no need to worry because this you have already learned last year as well in the same chapter which you had. So it will be a kind of revision for you all, so pay attention. Now, when I talk about special cases, there are two types of sums which are there in your syllabus related to this. Point number one, involving independent variables, that means solo variables. So in LPP, I told you, we are studying only decision variables involving two variables, right? So the first variable is X and the other one is Y. Also, the second type which we'll be seeing today is involving different signs in one sum itself. So whether the sum is of minimize or maximize, but there is a mixture of both these signs, greater equal to as well as less than equal to. So how you will be solving these sums. So let us start with the example class. So pay attention. So what are independent variables? First you need to understand. So as I gave you an example wherein there will be only single variable, either X or either Y given. Both of them will not appear together at the same time. So for example, sums like X greater equal to 6 or X less than equal to 8. In this cases, you see like only X is present. Only the variable X is present over here and Y is not there. So in such cases, the graphical line which will be plotting it on the graph will be a vertical straight line which will be parallel to y-axis. So when I say vertical, it means a standing straight line. Is it clear? So in this way, you have to remember for independent variables X, the line which you will be drawing will be parallel to the y-axis, or it will be a perpendicular line, you can see, vertical line. Coming to the next case, y less than equal to 7 or y greater equal to 12. Again, in such cases, variable y exists alone and X is not there. So the graphical line will be a horizontal straight line parallel to the x-axis. So like this. So you have to remember class, for special cases, you have to identify whether you have only one variable, either of the two. So if it is X, you will be drawing a perpendicular line. In case of Y, you will be drawing a sleeping line like this. So this is the first case that we are going to discuss about independent variables. So in the previous lecture class, I had given you all homework related to simple sums. I hope you all are practicing. Now we are already started with exercise 6.2. So I'm taking the sum number 1 of this particular exercise. Giving you all 2 minutes to observe the sum. Maximize z is equal to 11x plus 8y. Subject to x less than equal to 4. Y less than equal to 6 and X plus Y is less than equal to 6. X greater equal to 0, Y greater equal to 0. These are your non-negative constraints. So class, I hope you all have observed the question. So you can see here there is X as an independent variable. Similarly, here you can see Y as an independent variable. And here you can see X plus Y together. So let's see how to solve this kind of a sum. Well, there are no major changes in the solving pattern. Only a slight here and there changes you will be noticing. So as I told you class, first we always change the inequations into equation. So consider the inequation x less than equal to 4. So if I put let x is equal to 4, I directly get the value of the coordinate. So I name the coordinate as a 4, 0. Consider the inequation y less than equal to 6. So I put let y be equal to 6, I get the second coordinate. Now listen to a very important thing, class, over here. Whenever you have independent variables like this, please don't name the coordinates consecutively. That means after A, please don't name it as B, because there is a tendency that you will make a mistake and join the coordinates A and B. So I always give suggestion to my students, whenever you all are solving sums related on special cases, independent variables, please name both the coordinates separately, so that it gives you a hint that you need to join them together. So the chances of making the mistakes will become less. So I hope you all keep in mind this thing, that whenever there are independent variables, both x and y existing, please name the coordinates differently or separately, like as I've done A and F. Now for the third inequation, you can give two consecutive alphabets back to back, because you have to join the line of x plus y is equal to 6. So we get the coordinates 0, 6 and 6, 0. As you all can see, I have named them together, G and H. So coming to the graphical plotting like this. So as you all can see, I have taken 1 centimeter is equal to 2 units, because the minimum number is, I guess, 6 and the maximum goes up till 8. Okay. So as you all can see, sorry, minimum was 4 and the maximum goes up to 6. So as you all can see, I have plotted over here. The graph looks like this. The point A you can see is a vertical line. The y-axis is a sleeping or a horizontal line, and xy is the line which is combined. Now class, if you pay attention, points F and G are having the same coordinates 0, 6. So you have to write the alphabets twice, as I've written F separately, G separately. The point plotting will be the common. Even if the point 6, this particular point, comes in the feasible region, you have to mention both of them separately. That is G as well as F. So that is another thing which I want to tell you. So pay attention to that as well. So after plotting the graph, class, tell me which should be the feasible region and how should I decide about my feasible region. So as you can see over here, I have circled the signs for you all. The sign is of maximum, correct? Because in maximum, we always write the sign less than equal to. So less than equal to means you have to shade the area towards the origin. So getting class, all the three lines representing one common region towards the area would be this particular part. So pay attention class, as I am showing you all the diagram. Oh, just a second. I think the wrong slide has just popped in. Just give me a second. Sorry for the technicality class. Just give me a second, please. All right. So I was on this particular slide. Yeah. So I was asking you all which should be the feasible region, class. So here I was showing you all the feasible region will be towards the origin, that is this particular area. So this particular area towards the origin will be your feasible region. So as you all can see class, there are two new points which you have already got. You can name these 2 points if you all want. These are the 2 new points which I have got after drawing the feasible region, the lines graphically. So let us see how to solve the sum and what's the feasible area in the next slide. So as you can see class, here is the feasible area in front of you. So as you all saw, I have already shaded this side towards the origin. So the name which I have written is OGF. As I told you, you have to consider it twice. T and A. So this is the required feasible region. Now in your feasible region class, you can see point T is unknown. So we'll find the coordinates of T by solving two equations simultaneously. Before that, you have to identify point T is made by which two equations. So it is made by the third equation, x plus y is equal to 6, and the first equation, x is equal to 4. So as you all can see, I have solved both of them simultaneously. Now, as you can see, the value of x is already given to be 4. So you can directly substitute and find out the value of y, which is equal to 2. So the value of coordinate T is 4, 2. So now you have all your 5 coordinates ready to be substituted in the objective function z. So I'll plot all the 5 points. So you can see O, G, F and T. Now you can see F and G are giving me the same values, though the coordinates are also similar. Only the point name is different. So here you can have more than one solution if it is minimization, but our sum is of maximization. So there is one more point A left, which I have substituted in the next slide over here. So as you can see, class, out of all the values, though 48 is repeating twice, 60 is the maximum value. So maximization always represents profit. So the profit is maximum at point T, that is rupees 60, and the value of x is 4 and the value of y is 2. So the important thing you have to keep in mind here, class, is in this sum, all the signs were similar. So you could found the feasible region easily. But whenever you have independent variables, always use different names for your coordinates. Okay. We'll see one more sum. So now I'm solving sum number 4 for you of exercise 6.2. So just observe the sum, class. Yeah. Maximize z is equal to 10x plus 2y, subject to 0 less than equal to x less than equal to 3, 0 less than equal to y less than equal to 3, and x plus y less than equal to 5. Now in this sum, particularly, class, you see there are no negative, non-negative constraints. But if you all pay attention carefully, the non-negative constraints are given like this. 0 less than equal to x, if I write it, it is as good as x greater equal to 0. Similarly, if I write 0 less than equal to y in the other way, it is nothing but y greater equal to 0. So as you all know, class, this non-negative constraints we always ignore. So basically, you all don't have to look at 0 less than equal to and 0 less than equal to. So basically, we are left with the constraints x less than equal to 3, y less than equal to 3, and x plus y less than equal to 5. So there are two independent variables, x and y existing, and an equation which is involving both x and y. So let us see how do we solve the sum. I hope the sum is clear to you all. So this was the sum. So consider the first equation, 0x less than equal to x less than equal to 3. So directly I got the value of x to be as 3. I have named it as coordinate P 3, 0. Now for y, I'll see to it that I don't name any alphabet close to P. So as you all can see, for y coordinate, I got 3. I named it as coordinate A. So P and A can't be joined together. For the equation x plus y, I have used the coordinates D and D. So this way, x will be straight line, perpendicular line, y will be horizontal sleeping line, and x plus y will be like this. So I have taken 1 centimeter is equal to 1 unit. So class, after this, I am giving this sum as an assignment. You have to find out the feasible region and answer some of the questions which I have written on the right side. So first you have to find the feasible region. Then you have to tell whether the region is bounded or unbounded. What is the minimum cost, because the sum is based on minimization, and how many new points are obtained in the feasible region, if any. So as you all can see, when I've plotted the lines, I've got 1, 2, and 3 new points. But out of these, how many will be included in the feasible region? That you have to practice and find out. Okay class, I hope the first type of sums are clear to you all, that is variables involving independent variables. Sums involving independent variables. I am giving you all another sum for practice. Now this you have to start from the start because I have made nothing in this sum. So you can take one more sum for practice. This is exercise 6.2, sum number 7. So there are 3 constraints given. Try to identify the type of the sum, how to solve it for your practice. So with this class, the first type of special case gets over, that is sums involving independent variable. Now I present to you this particular sum. Just observe it, giving you all 2 minutes to observe this sum. What did you observe, class? Correct. So as you all saw, in this particular sum, you have 3 inequations. The first one is a normal inequation, x1 plus x2 less than equal to 15,000. The second one, x1 is greater equal to 3,000. So can you see different signs are used? And x2 is again greater equal to 5,000. So can I say this is a sum involving special case number 1 because there are x1 and x2 independently given. Plus on top of it, there are different signs which are used, that is less than, greater than and greater than. Now class, if you remember, I have taught you all the technique how to find out the feasible region last year. No worries, in this sum I will be again revising the technique which I taught you all last year, how to find out the common region represented when the signs are different in a particular sum. All right class, so as you can see, the solving pattern is the same. For the first equation, I have named the coordinates A and B, whereas for x1 and x2, I have named the coordinates P and G, which are separate from each other. That means I don't have to join them when I make the graph. Okay, so pay attention. So class, this is the way you will get your lines after drawing this particular coordinates on plotting it on the graph like this. So you get this type, this is x plus y, this is x1 and this is x2. I've taken 1 centimeter is equal to 3 units. Now, if you pay attention class, after plotting now I have to find out the feasible region, for which you can see the first inequation is showing towards the origin. So now what you have to do is class, what you will see right now, you don't have to do it in your notebook like this when you find the feasible region. So now what you have to do is hold your pencil upside down and with the back side of the pencil, now see this is the first inequation, the equation which we got the coordinates. Now less than means towards the origin. So by holding your pencil backwards, just shade roughly. So you will get this area which you can see. But when you are doing it practically, please don't do this class. So the trick was अपना pencil उल्टा पकड़ो, ठीक है? And roughly try to shade the region so that आपको पता चलेगा किस side आपका वो area जा रहा है. Okay, the best thing is instead of pencil you can use pen, because with pencil sometimes you may draw the lines which will be very difficult to rub later on. So instead of pencil you can take a pen, उसको उल्टा पकड़ना और areas shade करना. जैसे मैंने first line को shade किया है, it is showing towards the left hand side. Okay. Now coming to the second inequation का sign, as you can see it was showing greater equal to. So greater equal to means away from the origin. So again I am presenting you with the diagram. Again hold your pen, take your pen, उनको उल्टा पकड़ो. And as you can see, I have purposely drawn this line so that you will understand what I am doing. आपको ये फेयर में नहीं करना है. फेयर में करते समय टेक योर पेन, fold it upside down and then find out the common area. Okay, so when you shade, as you can see the line towards your right side away from the origin, ये मेरी x की line है जो मैंने shade करी है. So class, after shading at least these two lines, can you tell me कौन सा area अब तक common आ रहा है दोनों के लिए? Very good. So can you see this triangular part? In this, the sleeping line as well as the crisscross lines, both are intersecting in this particular area. So अपना region आस पास ही होगा इस triangle की. Okay. Now coming towards the third inequation which is left. So let us see what is the sign of the third inequation. It is also pointing away from the origin. ये भी origin से दूर जा रहा है. So again, take your pen. As you can see class, I have made these lines upward, away from the origin. So यहाँ पे can you see the red lines which I have marked? It is going upwards. Now what is your observation class? After all the checking of the three lines of the equation, which is the common area? The triangle part which you can see here. Can you see class this area? In this you can see the sleeping lines are coming. The towards the origin lines are also coming and the standing lines are also coming. So from this class, what will be the conclusion? That the feasible area which you are shading is none other than the triangle which is formed in the center like this. And आपको जो ये बाकी lines दिख रही हैं ये आपने rough में करी हैं, जो सच में दिखाई नहीं दे रही है. इसीलिए I told you all अपना पेन इस्तेमाल करना, उसको उल्टा पकड़ना और फिर जब साइंस अलग अलग होंगे then you try to find out the common area like this. Is it clear class? So these lines I made purposely so that you'll understand what you are doing practically with your pen. Okay. So ये lines आपको original diagram में नहीं मिलनी चाहिए. I should only see the triangle which is shaded and highlighted by me. Now, as you can see in this particular feasible area class, the triangle is totally a new figure, correct? So there are totally three new points in your diagram. So I have named it as point R, point S and point T. So none of the coordinates will be used for your final answer when you will be finding out the objective function Z. So you have to find out all the 3 points R, S and T in the feasible region and complete this sum as an assignment again, because the further parts I've already showed you all many sums how to solve it. But we'll just discuss it orally. So how to find out point R? Point R is made by the equation x1 plus x2 is equal to 15,000 and x1 is equal to 3,000. So directly you have got the value of x1, you can substitute in x2 and you can get the value of R. Same way for point S. S is found by the in equation x2 and x1 directly. So x1 is 3,000, x2 is 5,000. So point S is directly shown in the graph. Point T is made by the lines x1 plus x2 is equal to 15,000 and x2 is equal to 5,000. So you can use these two equations and find out the value of T. Once you get all the three coordinates class, then you can substitute and find out the value of Z. Okay. So class, one more sum I am giving you for practice. This is not in your textbook. So try to practice this sum. Minimize Z is equal to, there are again three inequations, but again you have to try and identify the type of the sum. So as you can see over here, there is one independent variable and the signs are different. Less than, greater than, again less than. So practice this sum class, and if any difficulty, please let me know. Also class, I have already told you all word problems, sum number 8 to 10 I guess, or 8 to 15. I've already told you all when we were doing exercise 6.1 that they are very easy sums. So you can practice them. Now, as far as exercise 6.2 is concerned, you can also practice miscellaneous exercise. That is page 104 of your textbook. Question number 4, sums 1 to 7. If you have any difficulty class, please let me know. So I stop here class. I hope both the type of sums, special cases are clear to you all. So keep practicing and keep learning. And if any doubts, please let me know. So we stop here class. Thank you so much for listening to me.